this question?
Oh, we're talking about these?
No. Okay. Well, at last month's meeting, we had Cheryl Monahan and her son Colin here, and they were talking about general finishes. Well, they had presented some of these chips or samples here. I left with them, and then she sent a couple more to me, along with the notebook that talks about all of their product mix and what have you. Well, I thought I would keep these at home at my place rather than here where it's under lock and key, a little more cumbersome to retrieve it. If you have an interest in using General Finishes products, you can go online and check it out too. But along with the colors, but it's kind of nice if you've got a chip that you can really get a better visual on. And so, if you have an interest in these and using any General Finishes products, I'll have this on our library, if you will, at my house. So that's all I have.
Okay. By the way, who brought these books in?
I did. I gave it those. I got those 4 Woodworkers magazines last month, and signed, so anybody that wants.
Free for the taking?
Yeah, marked up about those.
One's gone.
They're all real current.
In the chair with the walnut seat. The only one. Go ahead.
This is the chair I made in Pete's class. I brought it last month, but I didn't realize everybody else was bringing theirs last month, so brought it this time. I wanted to get some finish on it before I brought it in, and so the other day I got on my gloss varnish and it was all gelled up, so that wasn't great. So then I got out my old shellac, and it was old, but I put it on there, and it turned this old dirty light. I don't know why I did that, so I don't know if I'm going to leave it like that or just what I'm going to do with it. Overall, I was happy with it. It was fun. It was a fun thing. I would recommend it to anybody to do the course.
When we went to the Kimber Center, there was a lot of people who were looking at my van. So I thought if anybody wanted to see it, I'd use that as a show and tell this evening. This is the van I got when I retired. It was my project. It's the second van I've ever done. The first van I did, it was like in '76. And other interests in mine at that particular time. This one is time for retirement. And here's some of the woodwork on the inside. So if anybody wants to see it, it's parked right out front, and during break you can go out and look at it.
This is a little keepsake box I made. I've always wanted to do some inlay, and I was at Gary Flanagan's house several weeks ago and saw some of the work that he did and got inspired to try it out. And let me say, it's a lot harder than it looks. But if you stick with it, you need some special tools, and this is the first time I've ever done it, and I guess it was a little ambitious using mother of pearl. But it came out okay. You can see a few gaps around the edges, but it's not too bad. The box is hard maple. The splines are ebony pieces that I had laying around that I need to use. The inlay is black walnut and mother of pearl. And it's designed to just lift up so that you can open it. It's a hingeless lid. And I got from an idea from Gary. So, and the finish is Luberon. I don't know if anybody's ever used it, but it's a really nice product. I don't even know who makes it. It's Luberon, I guess. And a little coat of wax on top. It's a really nice finish. Thank you.
Which old is it?
Sure. Sorry. My wife's name is Lynn, hence the L.
son and daughter-in-law are good friends of ours, and he made this chair probably 20 years ago, but it's a 1600 design. Before they had a lot of woodworking stuff. It's made on a pedal, was made back then on a pedal power lathe, and it's ash. They made them out of ash, walnut, or sycamore, and cherry. And this uses that peak column concept where you shove it into the wet wood, and the wet wood shrinks and tightens on each mortise and tenon. So it's made just like a chair. It doesn't look real comfortable, but they put cushions in here. And I got one picture off the internet that showed how a little different design. But the tenons on this one, I think, is square. One of these is square, and the other one goes into the first tenon, so they're locked in there. Anyway, the guy who was 91, he was still doing woodworking. Then his health gave out, he quit. He passed away several years ago. He was a good friend of our founder, Dan Runwald. Dan started the club. And Dan used to go over to his place and watch him build that stuff by the hour. So, pretty nice looking stuff.
Well, I bought this jig, and I didn't know where to store it anymore, since apparently I've become a tool collector instead of a woodworker. So all my horizontal surfaces are stacked pretty high. So I saw this in one of the magazines, and I thought it was kind of cool. You can take it down, you slow it, and then it's got a hole here where you can hang it on a peg, and either hang it on the wall or from the ceiling. And so I thought it was kind of cool. So plus I like the elevated part of it, so I don't have to look down on the tool. So then this fits in the back and takes care of the long way. It goes this way. That's it.
You're kind of showing what kind of wood we have here. This is Kevin's top. What do we got, walnut and
Figured maple.
figured maple. And the rest is red oak, polyurethane, and tung oil on the board. And this is a very simple thing. And if you think you're thinking straight, come up close and stare. And screw it up for sure. Cherry, hard maple, walnut, cutting board, bar board, crib. And use them however. And those are just butcher block finish.
Very nice. This has everything on it. Now we'll have the tool raffle. I want to remind you that and I will pull out a ticket for the tape measure or sanding block. $785,927. Sanding block? Okay, now the treats tonight were brought by Jim Wright, Roger Blum, Gordon Pike, and myself. So there's about 5 packs of cookies over there. So let's take a break right now. We're heading out. Also, Ted wants to talk to you about upcoming cards.
Okay, next week, the 2015 International Woodworkers Congress is called. It's at the Macoka Fairgrounds. And we are really lucky here in Waterloo to have that close to us. I mean, this is a wood carving expo that's countrywide. Top wood carvers in the country get together at Macoka and they compete a few days, and then they teach classes for the whole week, and then
So they do like full-size wood carving there, like bears and stuff like that?
yeah, let's see if maybe 1 or 2 of those. Most of the kind of fitness set on a table.
Okay.
Anyhow, Monday through Wednesday, they'll be up there and they'll be teaching carving classes. You have to register for those. They have openings you can register when you get there, but so the competition is, or the exhibit is open Thursday through Sunday to the public from 10 to 4. And if you want to see some of the best wood carvings that you could ever see, go to Macoka and take a look. It's right on the road back, it's not very far.
What are the dates?
The show is open to the public next week, Thursday through Sunday.
15th, 16th, and 17th of June.
Well, the show is actually 18th and 21st.
Okay.
Open to the public from 10 to 4.
Thanks, Sid. Now, Dennis Gilroy, our famous picnic coordinator, will talk to you about this year's picnic.
Okay, this year, our picnic and tours is on September 13th. And starting this year, I'd like to change it up a little bit and do the picnic first. When we go through all the tours and we have to wait for that last person to get there, sometimes it takes quite a while for that last person to get there. So I kind of like to start it out with the picnic first, and then we'll have the tours afterwards, and you can stay at the different tours a little longer than you want to. I always find myself trying to stay there until the last person, kind of hustle them down the road so we can get to that picnic. So I think if we do the picnic first, that might speed things up a little bit. What I would like to do is, we were starting the tours at 1:30. I like to start at 1. It gives people a chance to go to church or be out of church and make the picnic by 1 o'clock.
So we'll start eating at 1 now.
Start eating at 1 and maybe just an hour picnic, because we'll have a short meeting after the picnic, and then the tour will start at that time. And we'll just see how that works out. If it doesn't work out, we'll go back to the old way. We'd like to try it and just see how it
Where's the
works.
picnic gonna be at there?
Huh?
Where's the picnic gonna
We have to sign up in the next 2 months. I'm not finalized on that yet for sure. And maybe in Cedar Falls might be more, but next month for sure.
be? Like Island Park or something like that? Or
I've got one reserved, but I figured it's not quite large enough, so I'm trying to work out some other deals, so. Okay?
And the good part of this is if your wife doesn't want to do the tours, she can come for the meal, and she can take what's left for her food and everything, and she can go home. She doesn't have to time to get there right at the end of the tour. So I think it'll work a lot better. So now we'll ask John Martell to start talking about Milwaukee. It's not old Milwaukee, it's Milwaukee, brand new, and vision. You want this?
I don't know if I can talk loud enough or not, so.
I'll clip it right on your.
Okay.
There, put that in your pocket and you're set.
All right.
You got an hour.
Oh, no. There's gonna be a lot of demo time. Thank you for having me. Jim, thank you for inviting me to come and show my wares. Like I said, I take care of the Home Depots. I've been doing Home Depots actually for about 9.5 years. I was a previous DeWalt Black & Decker rep. Now I'm the TTI rep, so I take care of Milwaukee line, the One World Technology, which builds the rigid line of tools for Home Depot, and I also represent Ryobi and outdoor. I do Home Light and the new line of Echo cordless products that we're building for Echo. So, but anyways, Milwaukee-wise has been around for a long, long time, and of course, they started out, of course, basically everything was cord. Then cordless came around in what I'm going to say, late 60s, early 70s, started getting cordless tools out there. And now there's cordless tools now we have that actually perform better than corded tools. The fuel line of tools, which is the top of the line, they're way out in front of everybody else in that technology. We now have a bandsaw that cuts faster than the corded bandsaw. Recip saw, fuel recip saw cuts faster than the 12 amp corded recip saw. 700 foot-pound impact wrench, half-inch drive, and then we got one that's a 3/4 drive that'll do 750 foot-pounds with 1150 breakaway torque. So then we have a whole hog drill. Actually, it outperforms the corded whole hog drill and does like 150 holes on a 4 amp battery, 3/4 size. And I played with it. My only store that's going to have them in my territory will be Cedar Rapids. And I was drilling 3/4 inch. I buried the bit clean into the 4x4, right dead center in the heart of the 4x4. Walks right in, no stalling. And the fuel drill here, I want everyone to try these. If they're welcome to try these tools, I have the compact fuel drill with a 3/4 inch auger bit that actually goes through the wood faster than this. I put the handle on there because some people may not be able to hold it. It's got 725 inch-pounds of torque on that. Then the new line that just came out, fuel is a system that was developed that everything on that tool monitors. So when you put that tool and you do you try to do damage to the tool, it actually will shut itself down before you damage the tool or battery on this. And the impact driver, we were talking earlier. I wish I could help him, but I can't. I know how to fix it, but I don't want to tell him to do it. But the fuel impact, he has 2 of them. The fuel, this is a 3-speed impact driver, and I can change the torque from 200 inch-pounds of torque up to 1600 inch-pounds of torque.
I got 3.
It's free? All right. And so if you're doing small cabinet screws so you don't overstrip the hole, you can take this thing down to 0 to 850 RPMs. So you're not going to snap a small screw, electricians. Self-tapping sheet metal screws, you want the speed, but you don't want the torque to break. The 1/8 inch especially, I've broke so many 1/8 inch ones with the old 1400 inch-pound impact. But now I set it down to 700 inch-pounds of torque. I'm up to 2100 RPMs so that I can actually drive the screw in without breaking the head off. And then when I need the power, the third level is 1600 inch-pounds of torque, 2,900 RPMs, and 3,600 impact lows. It's the fastest impact on the market for driving screws on this one. And, but more expensive than the standard brush tools that we've had for years at Home Depot. I mean, we start out with the standard brush drill kit, drill impact combo. It's been priced all over, but it's like $229, and it was $199. Now we've got it on sale for like $169. So
to go between the fuel and the brush type, they just came out with a new line of brushless, but not fuel. So it still has the same torque as it, but this is the shortest drill on the market. It's 6 7/8 inches long, but Milwaukee is all metal gear, all metal chuck. So you have to look at some of the other brands. You may find them plastic and plastic metal sleeve chucks. But this is brand new, just got it in the Home Depot, and this is the new fuel impact. I just got this in the mail last night at 5 o'clock. And this is coming in a new kit. We'll have it in the hammer drill impact combo soon at Home Depot, but they actually have another hammer drill that'll be brush. So I think the brush eventually will phase out when they get up there, but now we'll have 3 different price points available in the M18 line. Like I said, I don't get all the other brushless tools or the bandsaw or the recip saw or whatever. I just got the M12 line is probably my biggest line of tools that I have now, and then the 28 volt is strictly special order on HomeDepot.com. Probably can pick it up at Acme Tools or Campbell Supply, but the fuel being 725 inch-pounds of torque, the 28 volt, it's much heavier. It has 750 inch-pounds of torque. So, and now I have 2 fire departments that are using the fuel line of tools on the fire truck. Instead of using the generator and the sawzall, they're actually carrying out the grinder and the recip saw to do extraction. They've done a lot of practicing, but I haven't talked to them since November, and so I'm sure they probably got into some cars this past winter up in Minnesota. So, but the most important thing is putting these in your hand. If you're interested in Milwaukee, definitely try it. Do some. I got more 4x4s, so if we need it, we can try it. Then the M12 line, which is very small for small projects. The M12 line, of course, weighs a lot less. You're dealing with a drill that may weigh 2.3 pounds. Yeah, granted, it's got 275 inch-pounds of torque compared to the M18. This is 500. And a little slower speed range, but for smaller projects, electricians use a lot of the M12 stuff in their work. They like the line. Then we have the impact driver. This is new redesigned one. The old one was 850 inch-pounds of torque. The new one is 1,000 inch-pounds of torque, a little faster than the old one. And then the 12 volt also has brushless fuel in it. This is a 2-speed impact driver. This is 1,200 inch-pounds of torque. I have driven 3.5 inch lag bolts into treated 4x4s, unpiloted holes. And, but you can turn this thing down to screwdriver mode so you don't, again, overstrip the wood screw hole or snap, and then go up to 1,200. And it's almost as fast as the M18 series fuel. In the M18 and the M12, we have multi-tool. I'm sure some of you guys probably have these already, corded or cordless. Yes, sir.
What's the battery life on the multi-tool compared to the charging time?
I can't tell you. I've never run one dry yet, but you can. We go up to 4 amp batteries now. So
I have a Bosch, and it takes about 10 minutes on, but it takes a 30-minute charge. And then you also got to let the battery cool down before you charge it.
yeah, if it gets hot, they don't like to charge.
So you don't have, you have to have a library full battery to feed what you use.
Well, when you have tons of tools, yes, you do. But we offer 1.5 is standard battery that comes with majority of the standard brush tools. A lot of the fuel tools will use a 2 amp battery, or they'll go to the 4 amp battery. We have a hammer drill that comes with a 4 amp battery and a 2 amp battery. You're looking at 90 minutes on a fully dead 4 amp battery, and 30 minutes on the 1.5 or the 2 amp battery. But they're out here. I mean, they come with the sanding pattern. So, but you can do lots of different things with it. But like I said, the M18, they've got the quick change head now on the M18 that came out, well, actually, Home Depot picked it up last fall. We got the new quick change head on it. Hacksaw-wise, little 12 volt, a lot of electricians and plumbers will use these for cutting PVC, and or I've sold a lot of them to ladies for tree trimming. Put a little 6-inch blade on here, they can do anything they want. cover. They offer this also in an M18 series before you get into the two-hand cordless Sawzall. Then we have a ratchet. This just a speed wrench, more or less, breaks just like a regular ratchet, forward and reverse. And this is the 3/8 one we carry at Home Depot. There's also a 1/4 inch one online. This has 35 foot-pounds of torque, and the 1/4 inch has 30 foot-pounds of torque. But you can put a step-down adapter on there to do your, your 1/4 inch sockets on it. Of course, full line of lights, whether it be the regular 18 volts, the LED, then we have a lantern now that's 180 or 360 light, and there's also a floodlight that's 25-30% brighter than a 250 watt halogen, but without the heat. But it can blind you on that. Of course, I've got 2 catalogs, and they don't give us too many of these, but if anybody wants to look at anything else that's in here, this has all the 12 volt and the M18 and that. If somebody wants to take it, they can have it. I also have a quarter catalog. Yes, sir.
On the higher torque, 18 volt one there, you have to pay attention to what you buy for next bits.
Well, yeah, getting to accessories. I recommend, of course, the impact rated bits, which is Shockwave. DeWalt has their own line of impact rated. They were black. They used to be carried at Home Depot. Then when Milwaukee brought out the Shockwave, since they're proprietary to Home Depot, they kicked out the DeWalt ones and brought in the Shockwave, which all this on here, this is just a standard tip, and then these are the Shockwave bits, and I've got some Shockwave on the rigid line over there also. But yeah, there's a full line of accessories, individual, again, limited on what we have available at Home Depot, because they have a limited amount of space. So there are a lot more accessories available, probably in Campbell Supply, probably the other stores and that are out there. These are special bits here. These are dog-eared ship auger bits that they gave me for demo. There's just going to be a standard ship auger at Home Depot that'll cut nails. These don't like nails. They sort of get torn up really fast. And then these are the ones electricians like, but then again, Home Depot dropped them out of the store, but this is 10 times faster than a spade bit on this. And this, again, a dog-eared ship auger.
What's the reason for that taper? Can they
It's just
guide them in, or
no, it's supposed to expel faster. Yeah. But it does drill real fast. Again,
yeah?
How do you think it does comparison to putting it in the impact?
I'm sorry?
If you put that bit in the impact,
I use it 90% of the time in the impact when I demo. I just put it in this because I loaded it up, but this has the quick change. So if you want to see it, we can do it. We can make noise. Now this, yeah, they do. But they'll walk right through. A drill will do the same thing. I mean, and this is I put it in the brushless drill just to. Because it's reactionary torque on the impact, so it has to meet that resistance before it flips the anvil to drive it. But when you're driving screws, it's a lot faster than doing it with a drill. Especially if you have to countersink and you want to countersink and you don't have to back the bit out. Just give it a couple of love taps and you can countersink that. And as long as it can reach wood, you can put a 6-inch bit on an impact driver and you got 12 inches deep, you'll bury it 6 inches into the wood and it won't stop. It might stop when you can't reach it and try to extract it, but yeah, it just continues to drive. It's effortless. It makes noise, so if you have hearing issues, the hearing protectors are warranted, but the impact drivers I use probably 95% of the time. Drills I'll just use for pilot holes, but I'll use the 12 volt or the M18 for driving most of my screws on that. But like I said, lots more available, but this is pretty much what we have available at Home Depot, other than the recip saw. And like I said, the fuel line is becoming more prevalent. The ones that are in the business that do serious work, they're looking at the fuel system. And it's not for everybody. The brush is still good, but because that was one of the things when I started with Milwaukee Ryobi Rigid, the second day on the job, they showed us this fuel drill that I got in February that year. And I asked if we were going to ever have it in rigid. Oh, we're working on it. Well, this is their new set, and we'll talk about that in a second. But they've done it with a permanent mag motor, reduced the heat from the brush motor, but up the power. And so it's pretty impressive, pretty impressive line of tools. But like I said, the number of brushless tools that are out there, by far Milwaukee has, they keep developing more and more. And now I want to tell you something that's going to happen in probably 6 days. It won't be available probably for another 2.5 weeks, but they're going to have pneumatics, battery-powered Milwaukee ones. That's what I heard from a counterpart of mine that takes care of 500 hardware stores in Nebraska. He says that June 15th is the announcement date, but they're going to launch. So if you look at the Milwaukee site, there should be something on that site about that, because they've got a new line for rigid that is fashioned off of the Ryobi Airstrike. Now they have the rigid one, they've redone them, and actually you can actually pull the parts off of that, fix it yourself, and not void the lifetime warranty on the rigid. You can actually repiece the rings and the pin, the drive pin.
Explain, what'd you say, pneumatics, but it's battery?
But it's pneumatic, they call them pneumatics, but it is battery powered pneumatics. The Airstrike, which is Ryobi, it actually is pressurizing a cylinder and drives it. They've been out since 2012 when they first brought the Brad Mailer out. I've got contractors using them. Then in 2013, November, they brought out the 1/4-inch crown stapler. Then last April, they brought out the 16-gauge finish nailer. And now this spring, they just brought out a 15-gauge angle finish nailer.
So the battery is charging up.
It's called Airstrike, and
and
it strikes it and drives it. It's got dry fire lockout, so you can't fire the tool empty. Like I said, they're pretty awesome. Normally I was able to demo. Now I can still demo the Brad nailer, and I got the crown stapler myself that I can demo. But the other ones, they've drilled a hole in all the tools at Home Depot because people were stealing things. Imagine that. But they actually drilled a hole in every air tool on display has a hole drilled in it, so that if they steal it, they can't be used because it's got a hole through the system. So, but that's what you have to do. And
on the Milwaukee, all lithium?
These are all lithium. We have NiCad is there still in terms of battery replacement, but not for sale because it's a different hookup. So everything's now M18 red lithium, and they keep developing. We're up to now 5-amp battery right now with the longest run time, out there. And like I said, fuel. Like I said, this drill right here comes with a 2-amp battery, and I lost it somewhere. But this drill compared to the brush drill with a 2-amp battery versus a 1.5, because of brushless motor, this has 50% more run time compared to this brush model. Now it's a half of 2-amp versus a 1.5, but because of the brushless motor, it manages the power better. And the 4-inch, I don't know how long you run your impacts. Do you have the 4-amp batteries on those?
All of them.
All of them? So I know I've heard people running them all day on a 4-amp battery and not running dry and not running out of power.
I have a 6-pack charger, so.
Yeah, sequential 6-pack, yep. Yeah, they've got that, and they got a 4-port new one coming out for the 12-volt line. There's a 6-port 318s and 312s that they also just brought out. So they keep adding more and more stuff. radios, of course, you've got your 12 volt, you've got your M18, and now you have your new radio charger. Because DeWalt had the patent for 15 years on that, and about 5-6 years ago the patent ran out, so then Bosch brought theirs back out, Ryobi brought theirs in, and Milwaukee, again, didn't have it. That was the second question on my job was, when are we going to have a radio charger? You know, here I'm a new guy off the block, and that I had to demo I had to do the same thing here, but I had to do it with a DeWalt drill first, and then do it through 2 pieces of kiln dry 2x12, and the drill wouldn't go through it on high speed. Of course, then they suck the fuel in, it walks right through it. So, okay, it's different. But the radio charger is also Bluetooth enabled, so you can actually play. People have iPhones now, they like their music, and now they can play that music over 100 foot away. You can play in Bluetooth to it. So pretty neat, good sounding. Both radios, the M18 and the radio charger, have great sound and that. So again, I don't have one of those. Yes, sir.
Can you explain perhaps, I purchased one of the brushless a year or so ago in Milwaukee, and I was driving in some, I think they were 5/16, 6-inch lags into some pressure treated for the ramp project. Well, as it got to the end there, you know, it did excellent as far as that goes,
But it really binds down.
I hit to it when
Yeah.
I tried to stop, and I didn't think much about it, except that I was borrowing another friends who had a different company's brake.
Well, that's okay. You can say what it is.
And so it was more, and when it got to the end, the driving the 6-inch lag in, it was more of a soft stop on that, if you will. Can you explain what
That I want.
mechanism was going on there? Or is it a clutch that slips? Or?
It's a sliding anvil system that's in there. It's basically, if the anvil doesn't, when it's starting to ratchet, if it's ratcheting and that drill's it's not able to turn that, it stops. You're not actually hurting the tool. The anvil's just making that noise. And it's just a sliding anvil, so I'm not the engineer, so I'm in that part, but all I know is as it ratchets down, that anvil keeps trying to turn that chuck, and it turns it to the point that it's not going to. It's not an impact wrench. Like an impact wrench is going to have a lot more torque, because drivers are rated in inch-pounds of torque, and impact wrenches are rated in foot-pounds of torque. So again, 12 inch-pounds to the foot-pounds. So we have one that looks just like this with a 3/8 anvil and a 1/2-inch anvil, but you're dealing with something that has maybe 50, 30 foot-pounds on one, 75, and then 200 foot-pounds of torque. Then the 1/2-inch one goes to 210. And then when you get into the standard brush model, you're looking at like 167 foot-pounds of torque. But then, like I said, now we've got the big dogs out there that go 700 foot-pounds of torque, which that would, you know. But the guys that need that kind of torque in driving it, they love it, because you know, there was Snap-on out there was the biggest one before that had the most torque that I'm aware of. I mean, there's probably there was probably a couple other companies that had them out there, but they were like 2 or 3 times the price of some of this stuff. So they really get up there. So, but like I said, I want to make sure everyone has time if they want to play with this stuff.
And made in the U.S. or import?
It's all designed in the U.S. It's all built overseas. Again, we can't do anything. The recip saw is still made in the same plant it was made when they first built it in Jackson, Tennessee. All the recip saw blades are all made in the United States. But I know, and you know, that there's some things that are beyond everybody's control. And I know things are trying to come back. Maybe someday things will. But again, designed and tested, and this stuff does get tested out in the field. I mean, I met a guy in my Clinton store who used to be a Ryobi tool tester. He used to have all the tools sent to him. He finally broke his first tool. His workers dropped it off the ladder 30 feet and snapped the handle in the middle. And he said, well, we're going to have a meeting. They're going to start buying their own tools. But the main thing is that some of that stuff, even though, you know, I wouldn't have a Ryobi tool, but they got people using it, they got contractors using it, not a lot of money invested. And they steal them just like they steal Milwaukee or DeWalt or Makita. They're getting stolen off the job sites, out of garages and everything else. So if they wanted. But like I said, I'll switch over to rigid now if there's no more questions. Like I said, I want to give you guys time, and you guys can drill all the stuff you want or cut. But rigid, of course, rigid is Home Depot's brand of tools. Emerson Electric actually owns the rigid. They bought the West German company years ago, the pipe and die cutting company, and they actually bought that back. Home Depot in 2003 bought the rights to use the name. So every tool we build with the rigid name on it, we actually pay Emerson Electric a royalty. And of course, Home Depot's probably paying them a royalty for using the name on that. But the pretty much most of the other tools in the rigid line are all brush models. The Generation 5 series, which is now these 5 tools here, we'll talk about those. And then this is Generation 4. The previous sets, we still have some Generation 4 sets left. But again, not going brushless, they actually were able to surpass torque ratings on my Milwaukee fuel. This hammer drill right here in the Generation 5 series has one unique feature. It has the light where you need it, right through the chuck. This is 780 inch-pounds of torque in this drill. And it's got a micro clutch setting of 100. So you can calibrate this clutch. Instead of 24 clutch settings, you now have 100 on this unit here. And they're using 4-amp batteries, which is, again, the biggest battery we have in the rigid line, where we actually will go up to 5-amp battery in the Milwaukee. The biggest one I have on my sets are 3s, but we have a 4 now with all the fuel heavy duties 4-amp batteries that come with the tools. So this set has 2 4-amp batteries. This is the predecessor 4 series impact. This is Generation 5. Lights down here on the unit. Light here is now right up front. The impact wrench has the same feature. But the biggest thing here, this is 1,750 inch-pounds of torque, but it's only 2,400. This is 2,000 inch-pounds of torque and 3-speed. So now I can control. So again, I don't think I'm put it up against the Milwaukee yet, head-to-head, but that has beat everything else out. It beat this out. This is 1,750 inch-pounds of torque because of the lower RPM and impact blows. The fuel outperformed it on this. The Sawzall's been redone. This has a unique feature. It has orbital action on it. So you can turn this off when you're cutting metal, because you want the orbital action for cutting wood. It's much faster. But this is total redesign. One of the adjustable shoe on this, so you can adjust your shoe. So you get a little extra use on the blade on that unit. But again, first guy that bought one, I'm covering the Rochester, Minnesota store, and the first guy that bought the first set, a friend had the old rigid set, and he said there was no comparison. The Cirque saw is full 7 1/4, the old one was 6 1/2, but you can't saw this. This thing here just cuts. So you can try that. I haven't even played with it yet. I just put the blade on tonight, but we played with it in February in Chicago, and we were drilling 3/4 inch. It was only going through cinder block, but one of the guys who was a young man was drilling dead center on the cinder block, and he wanted to know why he wasn't through it. I said, well, you're drilling dead center in the. He was about that far down. I said, well, you should be all the way through already, but it was a very impressive unit. The other set I have here, which is their 2-piece set now, it was 3-piece with the radio. Now it's going back to a 2-piece set. That's normally $179. Still a nice little compact kit. The drill sells for $159. The 2-piece kit's, the 3-piece kit right now, if they have any left, is $179. If not, it'll be a 2-piece kit at $179. This is introductory offer right now. It's normally $499. They've got that one for $399 on it. But instead of, they have a full head LED flashlight that comes with it. Just got in the new. There's like a snake light, but the previous light was a dual position light. You could do flashlight or flood. Yes, sir.
What's on those 4-amp, what's the charging light?
4 amp batteries generally, if they're fully depleted, are going to be about 90 minutes. Because the higher the amp, the longer it takes to charge them. But runtime, like I said, if you're using the drill or the impact, that's going to be charged way before you're done. Now you throw it on the recep saw, circular saw, it does, but this will cut about 252 board feet with that 4 amp battery on it.
Is that 4 amp battery for the old tool?
It will backfit everything back.
In the same charger?
Yeah, it'll go all the way back to the old 24 volt NiCad. You can use any 18 volt rigid battery on the 24 volt series, because we had Jigsaw, there's a planer, and there's a bunch of other tools, but we just can't buy those batteries. They still take care of the customer that has warranty issues, because rigid, of course, has a 3-year warranty if you don't register, lifetime service when you do register. We have no center here. Someone else was talking about there's a place that used to be in Cedar Rapids that does some stuff, but he moved to Center Point. He used to be called Southside Repair, I'm assuming. No, there's a place in Marshalltown, some electric place in Marshalltown, that when I was a DeWalt rep, that was the only place you could get service on those. But the battery packs, you bring the kit into Home Depot if you have it, they check it, they call and get a new battery shipped to the customer, keep your old one, ship you a new battery, then all you do is call the 800 number and register the serial number off the battery so you can continue your lifetime service warranty on the tool on it. And again, the Ryobi, of course, going to just have a 3-year, and that covers pretty much the tool repair and the battery also. Pretty much most people have a 3-year warranty, and that's it. The DeWalt, Makita, some things will have a 1-year battery warranty, some 2, and some 3. Same thing with DeWalt. And they'll be various. They'll vary from 1.2, 1.3 amp hour battery all the way up to the 4 amp battery. Most of the kits will have the 1.5, 2, or 3 in them. I think the brushless, they're putting 4 amp batteries in those now. And the compact brushless, they're putting 2 amp batteries in those. So, but again, this is the 5th generation, so it's been around since, like I said, 2003. Someone said they got an old one that was an old NiCad that he got, that when he bought it, when it was lifetime guarantee and there wasn't where you had to register. I mean, I took care of one the first year I started. There was a guy that had a battery that he came into Home Depot and it needed to be replaced. So I checked it and charged it. And it ran for about 15 seconds and the recip saw and died. So there was a short in it, and I just called and got a new battery sent to him, and he has this original sales receipt laminated, so he still had it from December 23rd, 2003. So, and that was up until like January 2004. They had lifetime guarantee, and after that, everything had to be registered. And if you didn't register, you just had 3 years on that, which is unfortunate. And there's nothing I can do on that, but other than ask people to register at the time of sale and remind all the Home Depot people to tell their customers that, this is a registration required on that. But like I said, I got a few pencils up here in safety. I didn't know how many when I was told. They don't give me a lot of stuff, so I brought in what I had, and anybody's welcome to pick that stuff up. Like I said, anybody wants to come down here, more than happy to come down here and try any of the tools you want. We get the drill bits. Like I said, I haven't tried them on this one here, but we can certainly try it. Yes, sir.
When you say amp, is that amp hour or amp minutes? What
It's called amp hour. It's just amp hour. Yeah, 5 amp hour is what. Again, I basically just deliver what's told me. I'm not an engineer to understand what electricity is, but the higher the amp hour, basically the runtime. But like I said, we don't lock the tools out. Makita did lock their tools out when you could not take a 1.5 battery and use it on 99% of the tools that were teal. It would work on the white set, but if you try to use it on a high amp tool, you could use it on the impact driver, the flashlight, and the radio, and that was it. Everything else, you had to have the 3 amp battery. People were very disappointed when I was a DeWalt rep. I found that out. One guy even called me a liar because I said, well, call Makita. They'll tell you. But most important is that you can get any battery for the amount of runtime you want. The more batteries you have, everybody's doing things cordless now. I haven't used a corded tool in 20 years. I haven't used a corded tool. Everything's done cordless now. Yes, sir.
Is the warranty on the brushless longer than the brush type?
No. The warranty is 5 years on Milwaukee, full 1 year parts and labor, 4 years on the parts. The batteries carry a 3-year warranty on the larger 3 amp, 4 amp, 5 amp will have a 3-year warranty. The compact batteries are going to have a 2-year warranty on those. The rigid line, it's 3 years period on the battery. Normally the lifetime service is only when you actually buy a kit. Can you register the kit for lifetime service? So we sell a lot of kits because people buy them because they can get the batteries covered for life. If they buy a battery off the shelf, it's just going to be a limited 3-year warranty with their receipt on that. Of course, you can do the same thing with the Milwaukee. You'll have that. Everything is date coded, so they know when it was made. They just don't know when it was bought. So it goes by the date of receipt on any warranty that's implied. Yes, sir.
Does Milwaukee make their batteries in? There used to be, I thought Panasonic made all batteries.
I have heard various things. Some of it they are buying, a lot of the stuff is being bought from Sanyo, a lot of the battery material on that. I don't know, again, who's building all the batteries. I know that a lot of those places are supplying the material, but they're going after the best material they can buy for battery material. That's what the M18, that's what the M18 red lithium is. That was just lithium batteries, and now it's red lithium. So, and it's just the degree. But of course, since these all companies are intermixed, the materials, coming from the same place on that. So, yes, sir.
On the skill saw for the Milwaukee, they have a 67 and a quarter.
There is actually in the M12 line, since I didn't talk about that, they just brought out a fuel 5 3/8. Best to use the 4 amp battery, 3 or 4 amp battery on it. That thing there, you can't stall it. We were cutting as fast as we were cutting. We cut 170 2x4s on one 4 amp battery. Cross cut. The fuel, there's a brush model that we sell at Home Depot. Then there's a fuel that came out. Again, it was actually about a pound heavier, but it would cut more material because of the fact that it was a brushless motor. Then they just brought out a year ago, October, they brought out the 7 1/4. Now, those, if you're familiar with the West Coast, East Coast design, they are West Coast on the 6 1/2, and they're East Coast on the 7 1/4. That's the 7 1/4 East Coast design, because the DeWalt's were all West Coast design. That was when I first heard it. Because there used to be a panel saw that Porter Cable sold. That was a 5 1/2 inch panel saw, and it was West Coast design. That was the only one we had at Sears. Sold a ton of them because the ladies liked it because it was nice and light and they could see to cut with it. But the fuel they chose to go the full size one as a standard circular saw. But again, I get to play with all those on tomorrow when I build the center in Cedar Rapids. I'm going to be putting all the brushless tools on display. So I got the bandsaw, and I'll have the whole hog, the impact, and everything. So I'll get to play with that. I got a guy coming in that is going to buy a bunch of the stuff he saw last Thursday when I was in Cedar Rapids, and I demoed some of that stuff for him. So, and yes, sir.
What is the average lifespan of a lithium battery?
Lifespan on a lithium battery? I am still dealing with, well, when Stanley and Black & Decker merged, they lost 175 left Home Depots. I still have all my lithium batteries that they did not want back because it was the old technology. So I have 10 lithium batteries. Some are dated back to 2009. And I charge them. I use them in the recip saw. And if I get the recip saw hot, they will shut down to protect themselves. Lithium does that.
Are they ever come out with, like Black & Decker's got a multi, we put different attachments in there? Do you know what that?
No, the little compact drill they had that had that. In fact, that's not even available at Home Depot anymore. It was a seasonal thing. They brought that out. They were just bringing out, I think the year for Christmas in 2011. They had it for about a year and a half. I still have one of my 7 stores that still has the attachments, but it's only one. I don't know why they have it, but they still have it. But that's all gone from the Home Depot site now. It was okay for light duty, but nothing super heavy duty. Yeah. But anyway, I mean, it was a good concept. They were bringing that out the fall that, and I had to, because we had the little saw and we had something else that went with it. And but pretty much everything's going to be this, the multi-tools in the rigid line. Of course, we've got cord, we've got 18 volt, like the Milwaukee does. And we had a 12 volt when I first started, but that was strictly online. Now I just found it in the overhead today, and now we have the 12 volt multi-tool back in the rigid line also. So all goes around, comes around. And but like I said, yes, sir?
I got a dumb question.
There are no dumb questions. No dumb questions.
On your Milwaukee line, do they actually have a fuel cell in them, or why do they call them fuel?
Fuel is a system. They call it fuel. It's part of what they call the Red Link system, and I think in here, I might have, because I don't have anything. No, it's a. That's the whole hog too, but I guess they don't have it. But everything on this tool or that tool, whichever, doesn't make a difference, talks to each other. In the handle, there actually is what they refer to as a Red Link system. On the end of the stator, there actually is a circuit board attached. There's a circuit board in the battery. So this entire thing is being monitored 100% of the time, all the time. So this is fuel. And
how long do you figure the lithium battery will still be available?
Oh, lithium is not going away. We're there. NiCad, there was years ago when I was a DeWalt rep, there was talk that, NiCad is on the way out. NiCad is still, sometimes in sub-zero weather, NiCad is necessary because lithium goes to about 0 degrees and then it doesn't like to perform. I don't like to perform at 0 degrees either. So, but NiCad does go sub-zero. So the guys up in Alaska, they use a lot of NiCad up there, or they keep their tools warm. But NiCad, there were 60 million batteries out there on the marketplace in 2011 when I was done working for them. 50 million of them were NiCad. And they keep selling NiCad, and we still make NiCad in the Milwaukee, in the 28 and in the 18. Now, granted, not a lot of tools left out there, but there's still a few people that have it, that want it. But $80 a piece. These are not inexpensive. They start at about $79, and they'll go up to $129, $129 for a 5 amp battery, same price as a 4 amp, but just more life cycles on lithium. That was the big thing. Tons more life cycles. No memory, no degrading. So if I use this thing for half hour, and I still got, this is fully charged, 3 bars out of 4. But if I throw that back on the charger, I'm not hurting that battery. There's no memory, there's no degrading. I'm not going to hurt it. I can leave it sit on the charger indefinitely, it won't hurt it. It just goes into a state and just sits there. So unless that voltage drops, it's not going to kick the charger back on.
If you have one that's been expelled out and then you put it on the charger and it's not really charged, is it hurt to take it back off and use it again?
I haven't been doing that. I've been known. I still do it, and I haven't had any problems at all. Because originally there was the old thing is NiCad, you had X amount of life cycles in a battery. That was the thing. Some were raised at 1,000, some were 800, 700 life cycles. So yeah, every time you put it on the charger, it was a life cycle type thing, but lithium doesn't. Since there's no memory, no degrading. Go ahead.
Let's end the questions, because some of you guys want to come down here and try this stuff, and he wants you to try this stuff.
If you want to try it, it's up to you. I mean,
lots of wood here, lots of holes to bore.
And then like the saw, I haven't even cut with this saw yet. I just put the blade on it. So whoever wants to try to make the first cut, just remember, it is a saw. It is fully exposed, so you can adjust. But someone wants to try that, like I said, I let the,
Let's give John a big hand.
so, who wants to be the first to try the saw?
You,
Me? Okay, fine.
Put the blade in.
Well, I won't want to, this is Home Depot's used lumber here, so I gotta watch out for the staples.
I'll try it. I've got one 6.5.
Okay. So,